Recording. This is our foot. So we'll start with the foot. Hey guys, I just thought of something. Rather than you draw the bones, take a photo, send it to me during the test, like we were talking about, we're just going to do a complete half and half thing. So you're going to draw the full skeleton, but the side that's going to be covered up with muscles, you don't necessarily have to draw all the ribs on that side for the rib cage. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So that, as long as I can see on one half of the figure, the bones, and the other half, the muscles, I'm good to go. So even with the skull, you just do half the skull and the other half has the muscles on it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm good with that. And then we'll keep the hand and foot as separate questions. This and this. Those will be two separate questions. Then you have the full figure. And then extra credit will be to draw the two views of the scapula and the side view of the S coxae. Those are extra credits. So you don't even have to do those. They're optional. They're extra credit. It's just if you want to get.
I forgot all about those.
So those are just totally, in addition. But right now we're looking at the foot. So I am going to call on Sydney. Sydney, we've got two systems of the foot. They're actually listed, one here and one here. So you can read the screen or you can read your notes. Tell me the names of the two systems, Sydney. All right, we don't hear from Sydney, so we're going to go to Olivia. Olivia, can you read those two systems on the screen, or do you have them listed in your notes?
What do you mean by two systems? Sorry.
If you recall, when we did this drawing, I wrote down the bone. It says it right here, and here's the other system right here. And basically, one side of the foot has an arch, so all the bones that are related to that are called one particular system. And then the bones that are related to the outside of the foot that's flat is the other system. All right, well, I'm going to give it to you. This is a giveaway. The first system is called the oblique riding system, and that's the inside where the arch is. And so I'm going to point to the bones, and you guys can just make sure that you have these in your notes. We've got the talus. So this is the oblique riding system. We have the talus, which is here. We have the navicular, which is right under it. We have the cuneiforms, 1, 2, and 3. And then we have the metatarsals of the first 3 toes and all the phalanges. And so all those bones right there are related to the arch on the inside of the foot. We call that the oblique riding system. And then that means that everything that's left is part of the other system. So if you memorize one system only, then you know that anything that's left, just shove it into the other system. Get it? So the horizontal support system is the second system, and that relates to the outside of the foot, which is flat on the ground. It intersects the ground horizontally. So we're starting with the heel bone, your calcaneus. Then we've got our cuboid, which is right next to it, or right under it. And then we have our metatarsals 4 and 5, which is the 4th and 5th toes, and the phalanges that go with those. And just one little mention as far as phalanges go. There's only there's only 2 phalanges in the big toe, and there's 3 phalanges in all the other toes. And if you are drawing your foot, you can pre-draw the rectangle, and you know that the length of your foot is 3 times the width. So whatever your width is that you start with, turn it this way, come down 3, put a line, make a big rectangle. It's divided into thirds, and that is your foot. So what I'm going to do is take a picture of this, and then I will post that picture on our I will post this picture on our Blackboard page, okay? So I'll make sure that that all the lectures are pictured. If they're already posted, because, from a previous posting, I won't post it, but anything that's not up there, I'll post. Plus this video link. All right, so does anyone have any questions about the foot?
Nope.
All right. And we call this the dorsal view, in case you weren't sure. All right. So I'm going to go to the hand. Here it is. The hand. Aaron, what are the name of the bones in the wrist?
That would be, let me expand the,
Starts with the letter C. It's right there.
oh God, carpal.
There you go. And there's a number right above the word. How many?
8 carpal bones.
Yay, ding, ding, ding. You get extra credit just for answering that. I need to know anybody. Let's go, Nicholas. Give me 2 names of carpal bones.
The lunate and the
Yep, the
capitate.
lunate. Okay, so the lunate is one of the 2 bones that is up top. It's on the pinky side, and so it's closer to the ulna. And then you said the capitate?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's right in the middle. So that's the big bone right in the center. Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Let's do Anna. Give me 2 more.
2 more, the cluster
Carpal
of
bones.
bones at the top. Sorry about that.
Yeah, the wrist
Okay.
bones.
Let's see.
You might be able to see my writing on the screen if you can zero in on that.
Yeah. So we have, was the hamate, is that how you say it?
Yeah. So the hamate is this big one down here by the pinky. And don't forget the
Gotcha.
hook of the hamate, which is not actually a separate bone, but it's part of the bone. Okay, and what else?
Gotcha. And then the pisiform, is that how you say that?
Correct.
I am so bad at pronunciation, you guys.
I called it pisiform for way too long, and then I started teaching at OU, and a medical student who was taking my class said, it's feasiform, even though it's spelled like that, you pronounce it feasiform. So don't feel bad, because I did that for years and years and years. Good job. And the feasiform is the small P-shaped bone right on top of the triquetrum. So there's another one that we needed to know. So we've got 2 left. They're over here, and there's a major and a minor. So what is the missing part, or the missing part of the term? Who knows? Lauren, do you know? Lauren Louth?
I do not. I'm sorry.
That's okay. How about Lauren Cassidy? Do you know?
Which one was it again? It was the
So the 2 bones that are on the thumb side, they're both, one is a major and one is a minor. What's the second part of the term?
multangular.
You got it.
Because I couldn't read my handwriting. I was like, because I had little arrows pointing to the major and the major and the minor, and the word in the middle. I couldn't read it.
You got it. You rock.
Multangular.
Multangular. So major and minor. So the big one that the thumb comes off of, and then the small one in the middle. Okay, so those are our 8 carpal bones. Remember, these 4 fingers, you put a dot at the bottom of your radius, and you bring 4 lines down for the direct access through the fingers. And then the thumb has its own. It comes off the major multangular. The size of your thumb is equal to half of your hand. So that's your metacarpal and your 2 phalanges. Remember, the metacarpals end at the halfway point of your hand. So if you measured to there and doubled it, that would take you down to the bottom. These are all phalanges. There's 3 in each finger, except for the thumb. There's only 2. And these are your metacarpals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any other questions about the hand?
Nope.
All right. And again, I'll make sure that all of these pictures are posted for you. All right. Bravo. Bravissimo. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's skull time. All right. So we've got a cube that you want to remember is 5 eyes wide, 5 eyes tall. It's a square. All right. So the skull is 5 eyes wide, and it's 5 eyes from the top to the bottom of the nose. How many more eyes takes us to the chin?
2.
Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. So the total amount from the top to the bottom is?
Sorry, I read the first few. It was 7 eyes.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it. All right. 7 eyes tall, 5 eyes wide. As long as you get that, you're good to go. I need to know the name of the sockets where our eyes go. Justin, what do you got?
That would be the orbits.
Ding, ding, ding. What's the name of the opening in our nose? It's a cavity. It's called
The
the
Cavity.
nasal cavity.
nasal cavity. So at this point, if you guys keep your mics on and you know this stuff, just yell it out. That's cool with me.
Okay.
Hey, if you like Crest toothpaste, this is called the what crest?
Superciliary crest.
Superciliary. That's your brow ridge. Hey, this bone is right in the front, so we call it the
Frontal bone.
yeah,
Frontal
that's your
bone.
forehead. Your forehead is your frontal bone. Hey, your jaw is known as the mandible or the what?
Maxilla.
Nope, we're talking about the
Oh,
jaw down here
my bad.
is
I'm
known as
sorry.
the mandible, or we can also call it the,
Angle of
Mandibular
mandib-
symphysis.
so it's called the mandibula. And
Oops, sorry.
somebody
Isn't it
said
angle? Angle of
So-
mandibula.
yeah, so the angle is just this flat part on either side, but the whole thing is called the mandibula. So this little flat part on the sides, that's the angle of the mandibula. But good job, guys. So somebody said maxilla. It's written right here. That's the area above the top row of teeth. And then the cheekbone is my favorite. You guys know it. It starts with a Z.
Super crest.
Zygomatic.
Zygomatic. And
you can see it from-
remember I said that would make a great band name, the Zygomatics. So if
Hmm.
you write that down on your test, you get extra credit.
Cool.
All right. Any questions about the skull?
Nope.
All right. All right. I'll make sure that that is posted on our Blackboard page. All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get the torso up here. Very nice. All right. So 5 eyes takes us down to the bottom of the nose. 5 more eyes, so you've got 2 cubes, takes us down to the top of the sternum. Then if we draw a straight line and build on either side of that line, we're going to put a set of 4 cubes and another set of 4. This set of 4 is going to be for your rib cage. This set of 4 is your pelvis. So you can see here, I only have half the ribs drawn in. That's how you can do it for your test. Then the other side, you could do the muscles. Or you could have the ribs on this side and muscles on that side. It doesn't really matter. So you've got 10 ribs connected and then 2 floating ribs. So the 11th and 12th ribs are right here. And you see the 12th rib, the end of it. The 11th rib is a teeny bit longer, so it goes behind the rib cage. The rib cage comes in half an eye on either side, 2 eyes in on the bottom. And the top rib attaches a little higher up on the spine in the back. Remember, they're higher attached on the spine than they are on the sternum. The first 5 ribs are separate from each other. And then the 6th through 10th are all connected to the same cartilage. So just remember that 6 and 7 have a little cartilage connector, and then 7, 8, 9, and 10 hang down below and are part of what we call the opening of the rib cage. The sternum, we have the manubrium at the top, the body of the sternum, and the xiphoid process at the bottom of the sternum. Now, when you get down to the pelvis, each bone separately, because there's 2 of them, what would we call those 2 bones if we just referred to them separate?
Coccyx.
Anybody?
Cocci.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. And this is the side view of your os cocci. So remember, if you can draw this, then great. The terminologies that I gave you guys, I'm not going to go over all those because quite frankly, I just want to know if you know what the terms are from the front. But if you happen to remember any of these back here and you put them in, if you had them in your notes, that's extra credit. If you draw this, you don't even have to draw this for the test. It's extra credit. This bone, let's get down to the pelvis here. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right, so the pelvis is made up of 2 os cocci. What's that little cartilage in the middle? We start with the pubic. It's the pubic symphysis. Now, coccyx is a small bone that's underneath the sacrum. So this is called your sacrum, and it's part of your spine. So remember, the spine ends at the sacrum. The sacrum comes to a point. The very end of the sacrum is the coccyx, but it gets covered up by this area called the pubic symphysis, and that's cartilage right there. Down below here, we have the part that we sit on, starts with the letter I. Anybody know it?
1 second.
The ilium
If you're,
or the ischium?
it's not the ilium. It sounds like the ilium though.
Ischium?
So the ilium is up here. Yeah, it's the ischium. Ding, ding, ding. And then you have the front portion, which connects to this pubic symphysis. It's called the pubis bone. So you have ilium, pubis, ischium. And then you have, of course, the acetabulum, which is the opening or socket that the femur is going to fit into. My favorite terms at the end of the iliac crest, which is this curve right here, you have the anterior superior iliac spine and the anterior inferior iliac spine. You know, instead of using my finger, I'm going to use my pencil. So that's the anterior superior and the anterior inferior. There's your acetabulum, ischium, pubis, ilium, sacrum, pubic symphysis, rib or vertebrae, ribs. There you go. Any questions about that?
I don't think so.
Let's switch drawings for a second so that you can see the arm connected. All right, so I'm going to put this here, and then let me see if I have just the bones of the arm. Give me 1 second here, guys. I should, but you never know. Sometimes I can't find stuff. All right, the bones of the arm. I mean, we have the bones of the arm there. I just wanted to see. Oh, here we go. Yes, we do. So the shoulder muscles are covering up the bones of the arm. So let's go over here first. Then we can shift to our muscles. Okay, so we're just focusing on the arm. And so everybody knows that the bone that is in the shoulder, but it's behind the rib cage. It looks like a triangle. Everybody knows what that's called. It starts with an S. Looks like this.
Scapula?
Scapula,
Scapula.
ding, ding, ding. This is the back view, which we don't see in this drawing. So remember, the scapula that I want to see is the one that's actually behind the rib cage. See, right there. So if you happen to draw the other view, you get extra credit. This is the back view. That's the spine of the scapula. The socket is called the glenoid fossa. Supraspinous fossa is this pocket that is filled up with muscle. Infraspinous fossa is down there. This is the acromion process. And then in the front, which is this view, you have the coracoid process. Coracoid process. So again, if we look here on this drawing, you've got coracoid process, acromion process, got your scapula, your glenoid fossa, and then the humerus fits in there. Now, if you recall, 2 scapula equals 1 humerus. So we measured our scapula. We start at the top of the glenoid fossa, bring it down twice. Boom, you got yourself a humerus. And it is located right close to the bottom of your rib cage. So that's another good indicator. You also want to remember that you have a clavicle. I put 2 clavicles in this drawing. If you just have one for yours, that's fine. And it's connected to the acromion process up there. And then at the bottom of our humerus, we've got a ball called the capitulum. We have a spool. It's called the trochlea. And then we have the medial epicondyle. That's this part. Then you divide this bone into fifths and you take 4/5 and bring them down for your radius and ulna. The radius is on the outside, the ulna is on the inside. They are slight S curves. The radius is bigger at the wrist, small up here, and then vice versa for the ulna. Remember, if you want to figure out the length of your hand, you need to divide your radius and ulna into 5 parts. You take 4/5 of those and bring it down, and that'll give you the length of your hand. So when you're putting your hand in your full figure, just draw it like that. You don't have to give me anything fancy because
Okay,
you're going
cool.
to draw the, pardon me?
I said, okay, okay, cool, got it.
Yeah, because you guys are going to be drawing this drawing later on.
Okay.
So there you go. There's our torso. Any questions about that?
Nope.
All right, you guys are doing great with the studies here. I can tell that
So
you guys.
are we going to be drawing the big close-up skull separately from the skull and the whole body, or?
Thank you for asking that. No, you don't have to. So
Okay,
the
cool.
skull so you're going to draw the figure. Basically, even though we're only down to here, you can add the leg to your drawing, which I have here.
You're flipping out there. Oh,
So
so we're,
you can
oh, you're clipping out.
just continue the leg right down and one big piece of paper. Hold on.
Can you
Just
repeat that?
let me just see if I can fix it.
Can you repeat that?
All right, give me one. Oh, here we go. I think I got it back. All right, I just had to reposition my phone, and now I've got good service. All right, so
So you say we can draw the torso and the leg on separate pieces of paper?
So if you want to do this, like I have it just down to here, and then do a separate drawing of the leg,
Okay.
which is the way we did it in our lectures, then go ahead and do that. But if you have a big piece of paper and you want to connect the leg to the whole thing, right? So that you can see, the foot down here, you got the whole figure, then go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter to me, however you want to do it. As long as you've got the information in there, that's all I care about. So speaking of the leg, let's put this up here. And that way you can see that we already covered our ascoxae, our pelvis. We're going to take 2 of the ascoxae to equal 1 femur. The femur is equal to 2 ascoxae. You start at the acetabulum and then carry it down. Notice this femur does not touch the midline, so it's about half an eye from the midline. Then you divide that into 5 parts, and you take 4 of those, and you bring those down to give you the tibia and fibula. So the tibia is right underneath the femur. The fibula is very skinny, and it's right next to the tibia, but it's what we call the outside ankle, and it's always a little bit lower down here than the tibia because it starts lower here. So these 2 bones are the same length, but the fibula connects to the tibia here lower and ends lower. So there's always going to be a little bit of a slant. Now remember, if these 2 bones are 4/5 of the femur, then that last fifth that we didn't use to make those bones is what we would insert for the distance of your foot. And if we're talking about your foot, remember, you don't have to draw every bone of the foot, because later on, you're going to draw this drawing, remember? So just give me something that resembles the foot from, coming out straight out at us. I did put a couple small bones in here. You don't even have to do that. Just make sure that you have a good outline of the shape of the foot, and I'm good with it. Any questions about the leg?
Nope.
All right, and don't forget the tibia does touch the midline right here, where up here by the knee it does not. And I forgot to mention, this is your patella, that's your kneecap right there. All right, you guys rock. All right, so now that we've covered, that's pretty much all the bones, or skeleton, I should say. So let's go ahead and look at our muscles. So if we're starting with our torso muscles, we have a muscle in our stomach that has a tendon down the center called the linea alba. And then it's broken down into 4 sections of the same muscle known as the rectus abdominis. These are just little thin pieces of tendon that differentiate between those. So these top 3 are very similar in size. The bottom one is longer, goes down to the pubic symphysis. Up top by the chest, you can see that our pectoralis covers over the top of this, and that's okay. If that happens in your drawing because you're just doing one side, that's fine. But just so you know, this is the side that's not covered, and you can see the 5th and 6th rib is where this muscle connects, okay? The pectoralis, which is this chest muscle, is connected partly to the clavicle and then all the way down the sternum. And this section and this section all lead over to the inside of your arm or your humerus. Well, guess what? Straight across from that, there's another muscle attached in that same spot right at what we call the deltoid tuberosity. So if you recall, when you're drawing your humerus, don't forget about halfway down, there's a little point right there. That's your deltoid tuberosity. That's where your deltoid connects right there. Now your deltoid comes off of the clavicle, comes down right into the humerus. And then when it comes up this way, it comes all the way over, but not far enough where it meets the pectoralis. Therefore, there's a triangle or a fossa that's formed. So this triangle is called your infraclavicular fossa. And then above it, we have your favorite neck muscle called the sternocleidomastoideus muscle. Remember, it has one attachment at the mastoid process, which we don't see, but down here it splits into two and it goes to the sternum and the clavicle. So there is another fossa that's called your supraclavicular fossa minor. And then coming from the back of the skull to the end of your clavicle, that is your trapezius. And in between the trapezius and the supraclavicular fossa, in between your trapezius and your sternocleidomastoideus muscle is another fossa, and that's called your supraclavicular fossa. So you have three fossas: supraclavicular fossa major, supraclavicular fossa minor, and infraclavicular fossa. Three fossas. Who needs more than three fossas? Not me. Jeez. Now, your nipple region is right about here in line with the edge of your rectus abdominis. And then we have muscles on the side. So we'll start with the one that we call the spare tire on the male. That is called your obliquus externus. And this is all muscle fiber, and then it turns into tendon down here. It ends at the 10th rib, and then there are individual attachments from that same muscle that go up the ribs all the way to the 6th rib. So you have 10th rib for this big part, and then you have an attachment to the 9th, 8th, 7th, and 6th. But you'll see that there are some separate muscles here and here and here that are going in between those. Well, the muscles that are going in between are coming from under your scapula, believe it or not. And those are called your serratus, and they're known as your serratus anterior. Serratus anterior, 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 anterior. The echo is just a special effect. Okay, so that is all the muscles of your torso. By the way, I'm going to list all these out by name, so you won't have to remember how to spell them because you'll see them printed. I will probably just post all of the names on Blackboard so that during the test you could have that open, or you can take a picture of it and have it on your phone, whatever you want to do. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll make sure that they're broken down into sections. So all these muscles here will be under the torso heading, and then we'll have a separate heading that'll say muscles of the arm. So here they are. So we already did the deltoid and pectoralis, so now we're doing muscles of the arm. We start with the biceps in the middle. On either side, we have what we call brachialis, B-R-A-C-H-A-L-I-S. So the brachialis are on either side. And then behind that, sticking out on the very edges, are the triceps. So biceps, brachialis, triceps. Then we have a small muscle at the elbow, and it's on the medial side. It's called pronator teres.
Could you pull back a bit so we can see all the all the text together.
All the
Thank you.
names, yes. And don't forget, I'm going to have this video available for you guys as well. But yes, sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, so biceps, brachialis, and then triceps. So brachialis isn't written down. That's why I spelled it out for you. This is the pronator teres. And then on this side, the inside of the arm, we have palmaris longus and flexor carpi ulnaris. In the middle, we have a muscle called the flexor carpi radialis. And then up top in the middle of the arm, you see the big muscle called the brachioradialis. That's what this one is. And then you just have two small ones on the outside of the arm. They both have a similar name. So they both say extensor carpi, and they both say radialis. The only thing that changes is the one that's up top is called the longus, and that one is called the brevis. Longus and brevis. So I'm going to say it one more time. Biceps, then the brachialis, triceps, then we have pronator teres, and then on the outside here we have flexor carpi ulnaris, palmaris longus, flexor carpi radialis, and then this big one is the brachioradialis, and then the last two are the extensor carpi radialis. The up top is the longus, and this is extensor carpi radialis brevis. The palmaris longus has a tendon that goes over the band at the wrist and it extends into your palm. And then one thing that I'm sure we covered, but it's not on this drawing here, so I'm going to draw it. There's muscles on this side, the thumb side, and then there's a muscle on the pinky side. So this is called thenar, T-H-E-N-A-R, thenar eminence. And this is called hypothenar, H-Y-P-O-T-H-E-N-A-R, eminence. So thenar eminence, hypothenar eminence. All right. Any questions about the arm?
Nope.
All right. I'm going to leave it up there just for one more second in case anybody else is catching up. Okay.
Sure.
All right, people. We are down to the wire. We're going to do the leg and then the face, and then that's it.
Cool.
All right. So there's no terms on this because for some reason I didn't write them in. I don't know why. She swallowed a fly. You guys don't know that song, do you?
No, I
Forget it.
do.
Don't even answer. Okay, guys, our legs, quadriceps. First muscle in the quadriceps, rectus femoris. Then this is your vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, and then a very small part right here, and that's the vastus intermedius. Then this long band here that extends to the inside of the knee, that's called sartorius. And then this is your tensor fascia latae. And that connects to a tendon that comes down and meets this muscle here, which is called your tibialis anterior. Then on the outside of the leg, we have our soleus. We have our peroneus longus. And then the third muscle in is called the extensor digitorum longus. And that extends down and breaks into 4 tendons that go one into each toe. This is your shin bone, so it's not covered with muscle, but behind that, we see 2 muscles, your soleus, again, remember we saw it up here, and then we see just the corner of what we call gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius is also known as your hamstring. All right. Last two, they're right up here. So we have our adductor, ADDUCTOR, adductor longus. And then this small one, and these are both connected to the pubis bone. This small one right here is called pectineus. Pectineus, pectineus. So those two bones are connected to the pubis bone. So I'm just going to leave that up there for another second. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
Don't let anyone else tell you different. What's that? I'm sorry.
Awesome.
All right, here we go. You guys ready for the face muscles?
Yep.
All right, you guys rock. All right, who remembers when we did the face muscles, what I called that lecture? Well, I'll tell you, it's called Let's Face It.
Could you move it over a little bit so we can see the text?
Ding, ding, ding.
Thank you.
So this is called Let's Face It. So if you write that down, you get extra credit on your test. All right, so remember, the muscles of the face start with the ones right at your brow area. They're called corrugator. Corrugator. Then you have a small one right at the nasal bone. Procerus, Procerus. Then you have one that goes where, if you were to wear those breathing strips at night, it's called the nasalis, Nasalis. That's this one. All right, then the muscle that surrounds our eye is called the orbicularis oculi. OC, so orbicularis is OB, I'm sorry, ORB, orbicularis. ORB, ICULARIS. And oculi is OCULI. So that's the rounded muscle around the eyes. The rounded muscle around the mouth is called your orbicularis oris. So this is the orbicularis oculi, and this is your orbicularis oris. And oris is ORIS. There are three muscles, one coming down the side of the nose, one that comes up to the edge of the orbit here in the middle, and then a very skinny one that goes to the cheekbone. These three muscles together are called quadratus labii superioris. Quadratus is QUADRATUS. Labii is LABI. And superioris is SUPERIORIS. So each one has a name. So the long one on the side of the nose, that is just called the angular head. The one that's in the middle going up to the orbit is called the infraorbital head. INFRAORBITAL, infraorbital head. And then the skinny one that goes to the cheekbone is just called zygomatic head. So if we come to the corner of the mouth, which is unshaded, remember, because that's where the muscle connects or attaches to the skin of your face rather than a bone. There's a muscle that comes off the corner of the mouth that too goes to the cheekbone, and that is called zygomaticus. ZYGOMATICUS. I always thought that would be a great name for a gladiator. So if you put that in parentheses, I'll give you extra credit. All right. We're coming down to the side of our face. This is your chewing muscle. It's the masseter. M-A-S-S-E-T-E-R. Masseter. And then next to it, this big triangle also coming off the corner of the mouth and coming down to the bottom of the jaw. It's shaped like a triangle, and that's its name, triangularis. 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 All right, we're almost done. Just got a few down here in the chin area. So next to triangularis, going in this diagonal, it's called quadratus labii inferioris. So remember, these three are part of the superioris. This one and this one are part of the inferioris. So it's called quadratus labii inferioris. And in between those two quadratus muscles, we have what we call the mentalis muscle on the chin right here in the center. And that is it in a nutshell. That's your anatomy final. Ding, ding, ding. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Bravo. You guys did it. Yes. So I'm just going to switch the camera back to me. See if anybody has any questions before I let you guys out.
I think we're all right.
Will this recording be up on YouTube so that we can study from it?
Yeah, I'm going to get it up there.